Hello guys, and welcome to this short guide on how to do the End of the Risen quest from a perspective of Restoration Druid. I'm just going to go through phase 1, which I found to be one of the, actually probably the hardest part of the whole quest, which involves 6 phases. And I'll go through some of the tricks and tips that I've used. So just first the talents. I've used a different combination of talents, but what I end up going with is Scenario, War, Displacer, Beast, Guardian Affinity. Guardian Affinity because it's taking so much damage. Scenario War because the tank can take a lot of damage because from multiple buffs. Displacer Beast can be actually changed to Renewal for additional oh crap moment, basically, in case you're going to die. But I actually found Displacer Beast to be quite good when running away from mobs. Then Mighty Bash because you need a stone in this fight. That's one of the most important things you can actually do. You need a stone, 100%. Cultivation just because you need the extra output. You basically will always have cultivation proccing. Germination is just by far the best. And Stone Bark because again, the tank can take a lot of damage. And I'm just gonna basically do a healing commentary from the first phase that I did before. So I can recommend you using the talents that I mentioned before. The first phase is just one ad, the Hunter ad, which basically does a blue arrow over your head, with, basically pointing towards you. You have to make sure that the warrior is there to intercept that shot, because if there's no one to intercept that shot, it will hit you and basically drain you of mana, and it's basically a wipe. Because you won't have enough mana for the rest of the thing, because it actually drains so much. The second phase is a mage and a hunter. You have to make sure to interrupt the mage or stun it. In my case, you have to stun the mage when it gets really big, when it gets empowered, basically. And you have to remember that the hunter is still there shooting the blue arrow over your head, and you need to make sure anytime there's an arrow over your head, you're going to be behind the warrior tank. You can see again, I'm always behind the warrior tank, and I'm healing, and I'm interrupting the mage as much as possible. You have to stun it when it gets bigger. And here you can see, right now you just basically have to get rid of the hunter. All you can do is basically DPS and just hide behind the warrior. You don't even have to do that much movement. The fun part is that if you do run out of mana, if the mana is an issue for you, you can use Shadow Meld as a night elf, and you can drink. You just need to make sure that there's an area or period of time where there's no one going to target you. The next phase is with the mage and a melee. So in here I can see the mage is bigger. I stun it, and then I can see here that the warriors, I can see that the melee is after me, and I root it. Now this is really good because the warrior becomes basically immobile, can't do anything on damage. You can see them, it's just sitting there and doing nothing. It's an NPC, it won't dispel itself, won't do anything. This is just to counteract the amount of damage that a mage can do. So anytime that the warrior is targeting you, you need to make sure to either use a Displacer Beast, use a Ursoc Vortex, or just root it. Now the next phase is gonna have 2 warriors, and in that and when the 2 warriors can fixate on you, you can see there's a red line basically following you. You saw it previously. They can do, it's an increased damage. They can do so much. I actually used Ursoc Vortex there to pull them away from me, so I can actually interrupt, or I can stun the mage when it gets bigger. You see I stun it here, and I trank. Now if the Ursoc Vortex was there up for longer, you would be able to get those ads away from me, but it still lets me do the trank pretty well, and I just Displacer Beast away. Now you can take the melee damage, no problem, if they're not powered. Just make sure to root them before they're gonna start chasing you. And here's the double AoE that they do. It's a knife attack that does all AoE damage. You need to heal through that, but the point is, you want to make sure that you have the least amount of time when these 2 ads are up. So you focus one ad. You try to focus on just one ad, whichever is the lowest one. But the problem is sometimes NPCs change their focus. This happened to me multiple times, and I actually end up killing those ads at the same time. But therefore I actually had those that AoE phase, double AoE phase, which burned my mana a lot. You can use a Shadow Melt trick if that happens, because the AoE is quite big. Now the next phase, which is gonna happen after I kill the warrior, is gonna involve a hunter, mage, and a melee attack, and a melee, which is by far the hardest. I use my cake trinket here just because the initial damage is really big. I actually stun the mage straight away because the damage is gonna be really big. I actually also Vortex there, which pulled in the hunter when it actually wanted to do the blue arrow ability on me, which works really well, and you can actually do it to completely remove the arrow ability. Of course, not to just basically stop it from that one cast, but the hunter is still going to do that throughout the whole last end of this phase. So you always have to basically be beside the warrior so you can actually dodge the attacks. And to be beside the warrior, to be beside your warrior tank, you're gonna have to take in some melee hits. So here it's just basically you have to heal through or root when he actually attacks. I actually just end up healing through for most of the time and just hiding behind the warrior. You gotta keep in mind that when the warrior gets hit by the blue debuff, it takes a lot of initial damage. So Scenario Ward is actually really good for this kind of thing. You can see there the warrior nearly actually went down because I didn't heal the dot. Legendaries such as the wrist legendary, which uses life bloom effect, is actually really good for this. Really good for that, counteracting that debuff. And you can see here I'm just getting rid of the hunter by just hiding. You can't actually stun it and also Vortex to do it. So this is my little guide on phase 1. I'd like to hear what your comments are about it, how you feel about it. I'm going to do a phase guide soon as well. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video.